Okay, this is a hard question. Man, it's hard because, like some single player games are single player, but with a linear story, and, some of them are a linear story, and some of them are a open world experience, and man, I just don't know how to categorize that. So just quickly off the top of my head, in no particular order, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, The Last of Us, the God of War game that just came out in 2018, the Spider-Man game that just came out in 2018, and probably one of the Uncharted games. Probably Uncharted 4, I guess, would be my fifth pick. I don't know if, I guess Minecraft, but mostly the time I play Minecraft on like a server, so I don't know if that counts as a single player game, but if it does, then I would throw that in there as tied for one of those spots. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer in a band, and I actually did do that when I was in high school for a little while. I had some friends that we made a metal band, and I was the singer. And I also, for a while, I wanted to be in the Air Force because I wanted to fly jets, but I have terrible eyesight, and I get motion sick extremely easily, so yeah, I don't think that that's a thing that's gonna work out for me. Although when I was a kid, I also really loved playing video games. It's just that at the time, I didn't really consider the option of playing video games as a career. So, man, maybe I don't know. I feel like I am kind of living my childhood dream right now. I think a lot of people who want to be content creators and they want to stream on a daily basis think that they have to share everything about their lives with their audience, and that's just complete bullshit. You don't have to tell anyone anything for any reason. If you just decide you don't want to, you don't have to. I don't know why, I guess because people are used to that style of oversharing on the internet, and people think that if I share more, people will like me more. They think they know me better, and therefore they will feel more attached to my content because they think we're friends or something like that. I don't know about the psychology behind that because that's not my area of expertise, but I know that anytime people ask me questions and I don't want to answer them, I just say, I don't want to answer that, or I just ignore it completely. And sometimes people get weird about that. Like, people will ask me about my personal life a lot, especially like whether or not I'm dating anyone. But it's just sometimes, it's not anyone's business what's going on behind the scenes. And there's random questions sometimes that I won't answer because I'm concerned about people trying to use information to hack into your accounts. If you ever think about like info security, and there's this thing called social engineering where people will ask seemingly innocuous questions about your personal life, and then they use that information to gain access to your accounts. And so sometimes if I just don't feel like I trust the person who's asking the question, if they're someone who I've never seen in my chat before, and they're asking me, what was your first pet's name or something weird, and you're just like, I don't know why you would need to know that. And because I don't know why you would need to know that, I don't feel like answering it. So I think it's important for people to have a personal life that is private, both for their own mental well-being, but also because you just never know what the other person is trying to use that information for. I would say my first few tattoos were very thought out. I spent a lot of time thinking about them and making sure that it was something that I wanted, and I think that the problem when you start getting tattoos is that you just want to keep getting more, and you just want to keep getting more tattoos and more tattoos. And I think I started thinking about them less as time went on, but every once in a while I get a tattoo that's kind of spur of the moment, and then sometimes I get tattoos that are still very thought out, and I don't know, I think that's fine. This one, there's a lot of factors that go into this, and so I'm not sure really how to answer it. I see the value in providing young women with a place to play video games where they feel that they aren't going to be met with as much resistance as they would be playing, in the regular, like, pro league. You only have to watch literally any time that Goddess is on the screen or her team is playing or anything like that, and the hate that she gets is really frustrating for me to watch happen. So I imagine that having more women in Pro League, I don't know if that would make it better. I can imagine that there are a lot of girls who are probably apprehensive about putting themselves into the spotlight because of the way that they're treated, and that's totally fair. You know, nobody wants to be subjected to that on a daily basis. It's very hard to deal with that. It's very, very hard. The other thing is that, like, I don't know if there needs to be a separate league. You know, I would love if more women felt that had the confidence to play in Pro League and to try out for Pro League and, you know, to really make a go of it. I will plead my ignorance in that I don't really follow Challenger League a lot, so I don't know if there's a lot of women in Challenger League who are, you know, like trying to make it into Pro League or anything like that. My ideal scenario would be if there were just more women in Pro League in general who were, you know, comfortable dealing with the scrutiny, and hopefully I think just by being visible that would help, you know, being visible and just showing that you can be as good at the game as other people without making a big deal of it. I think that that's really the way that we as women should be represented in the Pro League rather than making a separate league. So between the time that I recorded this video and actually editing everything, putting it together now, there actually has been a women's league formed for Siege, and I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about it quite a lot. I could make like a whole other video talking about my feelings about this kind of thing, but I'm gonna stand by my statement from a few weeks ago that I recorded here and just say that I personally am not interested in participating in a league like that because, one, I'm not a super competitive person. I like playing Siege, but I don't really want to compete with Siege. I want to keep my job as a streamer and not become like an, you know, esports player or whatever. And two, I just don't really have a desire to play in a segregated league. I'm not really a big fan of things in general that are like women only in kind of under the guise of, you know, female empowerment. And yeah, like, I mean, I could make like a whole other video talking about that for a long time, but I don't really think it's that important. It's just something that I'm not really interested in participating in, so I figured I would throw that out there, and yeah. When I first started streaming, I really just tried to look at streams that I enjoyed and see what it was that I enjoyed about them, and look at streams that I didn't like and what was it that I did not like about those things, and using that information to kind of influence my own decisions about my own streams so that I could kind of focus on the things that I really wanted to emulate by the people that I was inspired by, and the things that I, you know, didn't want to have in my community and that sort of thing. So I don't know if there's any one thing that I wish that I would have focused on more. It's very easy to look back and be like, oh man, like if I had done that, then maybe this would have happened and then I would be here now. But you really never know. You know, you never know where your life's gonna lead, and it's really hard when you're in the moment to, I mean, you can't predict the future. You know, no one has any way of saying like, if I do this thing, then it will for sure lead to this amount of success, or, you know, this thing that I'm trying to achieve. You just have to kind of do your best, really. Just make decisions that you think are the best for you at the moment, and if it doesn't work out, then you just gotta change directions, try something else. And the important thing is that, this sounds really cheesy, but the important thing is that you just keep doing things, you just keep pushing forward, and sometimes things lead to dead ends, and sometimes they lead to really amazing successes, and it's really hard to know before you make that choice, and you just kind of have to take that leap of faith. If I could visit a fantasy location, I would probably pick Toussaint from The Witcher 3, the Blood and Wine DLC. It's beautiful. Like, the whole area is very beautiful and green, and they're all about like wine and cheese, and the problem is that they have giant spiders too. And I don't remember which part of I think there was like a specific mission where there were just these like massive spiders and they were really hard to kill. So maybe I want to take my answer back. This is kind of hard to answer because the convention changes every year, you know, there's different panels and different things, and I don't know what's gonna happen each year, it's different. So I think it's important for you to look at the schedule. If you are a broadcaster and you want to learn more about specific topics, then they will probably have a panel that you can go to. And if you're just a viewer who wants to meet people, you know, they have different events that I don't know, it's different every year. But I always try and go to panels that I think are going to be informative to me and to what I want to accomplish. And most of the time, I just want to hang out with my friends. And probably my favorite thing to do at TwitchCon is the meet and greet. Every year, I think there's going to be 0 people in my line, and every year you guys surprise me by waiting to talk to me, and I always feel so special. It's very easy to get bogged down in all of the negative comments coming from people who are, you know, they can be keyboard warriors when they're at home, but the people who make the time to come to TwitchCon and they stand in your line and they want to meet you are the really good, genuinely kind people who are just happy about your content and want to meet you, and just, that makes me feel really, really good about what I do. And that's like the thing that always reminds me of why I love doing what I do. So the story of how I got interested in Siege was that I actually was sponsored to play it for the first time, and I still have the email where I told them I don't know how to play this game and I will probably be terrible at it. And they were like, that's fine, you know, we just want to showcase people of all different skill levels, so it's totally cool if you're brand new. And I think I tried to kill the hostage like a bunch of times. I mean, not on purpose, but I was just really bad at the game. And I was just hooked after that. Once I started learning and actually figuring out how to play the game, it was like very quickly something that I loved to play. And so I'm really glad that they, you know, that they sponsored me and that they were okay with me being new to the game, because like you have to get over that first initial I suck at this game in order to, you know, get good at it. And yeah, I mean, of course I still love streaming it. It can be kind of frustrating. I think the more success you have on Twitch, the more you have to deal with people who are stream sniping and people who are actively trying to make the game not fun for you. And that's gotten way worse in the past few months, especially. I've noticed a lot more people who are stream sniping, and it can be very, very difficult to want to play Siege when you know that that's going to happen every day. I'm hopeful that Ubisoft will start putting in some kind of features that will make it easier for streamers. I used to be able to change my name all the time through Uplay, but they changed it where you can only change your username once every 30 days, and that makes it pretty difficult. Because I used to just change my username every day, and it would, I think that really helped with avoiding stream snipers, because they couldn't keep track of what my name was every day. But now that I can only change it once a month, it's gotten a lot worse. So hopefully they do something to make it a little bit easier for us. But I do still enjoy streaming it, and that's why I keep streaming it all the time. Anyway, those are all of the responses that I had, and thank you guys so much for sending in all those questions. I hope you enjoyed these videos, and I will see you in the next one. Later.